Lines from last night's hour and 15-minute speech by the president, his first State of the Union address. And just on a pure performance level, the tone was great. The confidence was strong. A lot could go wrong. And for the president, he pulled it off. Well, let's find out what Michelle Malkin thinks. She's a host of Michelle Malkin Investigates on CRTV. And we finally get to see you in person again. It's been a while.
Welcome.
Body and soul.
So why was it important for you to be here?
I think this was a consequential moment in the Trump administration. And I was here for the inauguration, and I wanted to be here, covered it for CRTV. But I felt moved. I was genuinely moved by the speech and the whole thing. You know, I can't remember a State of the Union where I felt this emotional about the larger themes of good and evil and who our real enemies and friends are in the world and what matters. And to see the crocheting of all of these stories and narratives of the guests that were brought by the president and first lady, I thought it was masterful. And I pinpointed that moment where he said Americans are dreamers too. And I think it was not only a soaring moment of rhetoric, but it was brilliant political jujitsu, because we have been told time and time again, not just during this administration and the last presidential campaign, but over the last 8, 10, 20, 25 years, that dreamers are Americans. And there's been this sabotage of American citizenship and the importance of a unifying theme of all of the people that are in this country. And people are tired of being mocked, derided, and attacked. And so it was the left and the media and all those dour faces. I said, I haven't seen so many stone faces in an audience since Easter Island or Angkor Wat than I did last night.
Well, the president, when he mentioned that, there were a number of dreamers in attendance because a number of Democrat congresspeople had invited them as their honored guests. And so they were there to hear the president talk about immigration. Now, one of the things, I know you're for ending the visa lottery, the chain migration problem.
I was talking about it before people even knew it existed. And then when I described that we had a diversity visa lottery, they couldn't believe that this was actually real.
But one of the components is the president has suggested 1.8 million people in this country illegally. Essentially, that is what you would call amnesty. So as you grit your teeth, tell me what you think about it.
Look, amnesty begets amnesty. And we've had more than a dozen of them since 1986. And the idea of putting amnesty before enforcement is a losing proposition.
What if you
but I understand
simultaneously?
I understand the gambit here. You know, we've talked a lot about 4D chess I've been hearing about. I can't even play 1D chess, but I can wrap my head around it. I just want to make very clear, though, that the enforcement and the funding for a border wall has to be non-negotiable. And that's what I heard, and that's what I'm taking away from it. But we only get one result.
It's got to be paid up front, and it's got to be put away so no Democratic House can't take it back.
Well, we only get one result when we offer amnesty with regard to any kind of criminal law breaking, and that's more criminal law
Michelle,
breaking.
what was trending was the Gitmo. He said signing executive order to keep Gitmo open. DACA, that was really trending. The Americans are dreamers too. And when you really think about that, what is your dream? Like, what is the American dream?
Well, I think it's what knits together all of the stories that we saw last night to make an impact in the world, to lead meaningful, productive lives, and to be able to secure a legacy for our children and our grandchildren. And how can you accuse, as so many of these addled Beltway anti-Trumpists did, our president of being the divisive one when he brought together Ji Sung Ho defiantly, joyously, waving his crutches and such a symbol of freedom. And then the parents of Otto Warmbier, or the parents of Nisa and Kayla Cuevas, who were murdered by MS-13 members. You know, if this were a Democratic president and these guests, every single one of their names would be written in and ingrained in the public mind and sphere, and yet they're whitewashed time and again. And I think it was that seizing of the narrative and telling stories that the mainstream media would rather cover up that I appreciate so
Lastly,
much.
a prediction a year from now, where we're going to be on infrastructure, immigration, election.
Well, look, these are not going to be easy battles, and there are going to be grassroots conservatives and limited government conservatives who are going to operate based on empirical evidence and test every single step of the way. Look, we had $1 trillion Obama porculus stimulus package that still hasn't yielded results. We know what shovel-ready jobs actually look like. And so those will be tests that Capitol Hill will subject President Trump to. And obviously, he's ready for the fight.
Michelle, you're the first person who said porculus this year. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you very much. Travel safely back to Colorado.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, still ahead.